This is the most exciting times that I've been involved in during my career at HTA. We're building more homes now than ever, but the big question is, for us, who are they for and what are the sorts of places that we're being asked to design? So, so we've seen 3 recessions and 3 upturns in my time at HTA, and each of them have been quite different. But this is the most exciting period coming out of a downturn. And we've seen this slide before from Natalie, but you'll get the idea that our population is shooting through the roof. And the issues we're facing very much in the schemes we're designing now is a decline in affordable housing. Housing that's truly affordable, not just to the very poor, but for the average kid living in the average home in London, aspiring to not only own, but rent their own home. And we can see that there's some good news here. So we've had a long period where we've not been delivering very many homes, but a significant uptick in activity. But the key question for us is, who are those homes for? The issue of affordability is driving up pricing through land price inflation as demand really begins to set in London. But there is some very good news. We have a fixation of home ownership that's been pushed through, and we saw in the election a big push on making it possible for people to access home ownership, but that's still taking home ownership outside of the average child growing up, certainly in my household. The limited availability and limited viability of low-cost housing without grant means that we're coming up with some good innovative ways of providing those homes with some success, but not at the speed that we need to provide them. And meanwhile, right to buy is going to eat into the number of homes available. And buy to let, if there's a low-value home in London, it's going to be snapped up by a cash buyer looking to put it back into rental, possibly to the housing benefit community. So those houses are disappearing quicker than they can be taken up by our kids. So we've got some very, very bright prospects, and one of the things that we're really passionate about is the emerging institutionally backed or large-scale managed PRS sector. This is operating very, very large schemes in placemaking-led communities, and we're just at the cusp now of seeing these come on stream, and we think there's great potential there. And also off-site manufacture. Now, for the first time in my career, we've had lots of flirtations with it, for the first time, we're building seriously large schemes in modular housing at high quality that work in the housing sector. Build them quickly, the costs are equivalent over a life cycle with traditional housing, and we're very, very excited about the potential for these schemes. And certainly even at high rise now, we're building towers up to 23 stories in a year. A fantastic innovation coming through there. And the big opportunity really is in the suburbs. We see suburbia as being the great opportunity for London. We think that if you look at housing delivery in the outer London ring, you can see that there's a long way to go before we really reach capacity in those areas. And with Crossrail coming and Crossrail 2 linking up, we heard it may link up with Stansted, it's going to make a huge impact. So devolution, a great thing, we heard about that this morning. Leadership, we heard about that from Natalie. But the thing we like and the thing we see is municipal entrepreneurialism, the ability of local authorities to really take their assets and do something fantastic with them. So that public asset and stewardship piece sits hugely at the heart of creating not just great places, but affordable places. That's a responsibility that we're looking to our elected politicians to really steer through. Greenbelt, hinted at this morning, but veered away from. Frankly, we don't believe in our dealings with brownfield that it will come forward, the brownfield land we have available will come forward quick enough to fulfill our needs. We're already looking at some greenbelt schemes. In fact, we're bringing forward a greenbelt scheme for the GLA at Cane Hill. It is beautiful, it really respects the greenbelt, and it does make a difference. So this is about homes for our kids. We have an issue of exclusion coming up, and social media will make it even harder for all of us delivering housing in areas where there are some sort of local, shall we say, housing difficulties. And we get this, anger. We have a history of civil unrest. It's come several times during my career. Certainly my career was kicked off by a large-scale protest. It's never too far away, and it was hinted at this morning in terms of one of the upticking risks. And we don't have long. This is a mapping on housing delivery and the recessions. You can see between 1991 and 2008, a good period of time there. We might have 15 years. We're probably 5 years into those 15 years. There may be a recession sooner. The clock's ticking. We need to pull all these pieces together and get the job done.